Tinubu did not foresee the enormity of Nigeria's challenges. This is coming from Onanuga. Oh, just like Buhari said, that how he wished he was younger. So Tinubu did not see. He was with the party for 8 years as the leader, national leader of the party. He didn't know, but he was defending Buhari in all the shenanigans that was going on under Buhari. He was defending it, praising him. And this one is coming to tell us nonsense. Not that you are coming from another party. Not that you are just a chieftain of the party. It's not that oh, he just brought you for somewhere, or they just elected you impromptu at his old age. He didn't know. This is according to Bayo Onanuga, his special advisor on information and strategy, who is also of the view that the persisting pressure on the naira and foreign exchange crisis could be tamed if companies look inward and adopt backward integration. Nigerians also need to curb excessive demand for dollars, especially for holidays and education abroad. And meanwhile, the finance department, they went to UK for what? For a workshop that they could have done in Nigeria. Tinubu went with his children. What did they go and do in Qatar? What did they spend? Tinubu has been going to, since he became the president, he has been going to France for medical treatment. They've been going around with their spending in governance. No, they will not see all of those things. What are Nigerians spending compared to what they themselves as politicians are spending? They are the ones who spent money during their primaries, dollars given to delegates. They didn't come out to debunk it. Now they are telling Nigerians that Nigeria should buy Nigeria and grow Nigeria. Yes, this is what this guy is saying. He said that Nigeria should look inward. In this interview with John Osadolo, managing the editor, Oyinye Onwachuku, Abuja Bureau Chief, Anthony Allen, assistant new editor of Business Day, Onanuga further bears his mind on Tinubu's economic policies, 10th month into his leadership, and ongoing efforts to tackle present challenges. Will it be right to say that President Tinubu did not foresee the present enormous challenges in the country when he took over in May 2023? He said yes. When you are outside, you will not have the full picture of things until you get inside to see what has really happened. I think that was the case. It was when President Bola Tinubu got in there that he knew the full enormity of the problems. And why didn't he settle down before he started making some of the pronouncements just from the day he came on board? He wanted to hit the ground running because of his lack of knowledge. Is what is putting Nigeria into this problem. Of course, it's not even suffering it. It was when President Bola Tinubu got in there that he knew the enormity of the problems. It was then that he knew that there was no money to even run government affairs. You can see that he had to immediately remove the oil subsidy instead of waiting till June. Although he knew there were problems because the NNPCL was already choked up. He never anticipated that it would be that bad. Even if he had not removed the subsidy at the time he did, maybe there would have been no fuel in this country in the month of June. So even though he knew that there were problems already, it was only when he got there that he got to the full picture. It was when he wanted to know the actual state of account with the NNPC and CBN to know where the money was, if there was any money at all, that he got the true picture of what was really on the ground. This was probably because he took over from another APC government. He is very, very reluctant to blame the previous regime. That is why he kept saying, I inherited liabilities and assets. From my own point of view, I would say that he inherited mainly liabilities. If you look at the last budget of former President Muhammadu Buhari, about 97% was supposed to be used for debt services. The budget was predicated on 14 trillion in borrowing, while capital expenditure was just 1 trillion naira. So imagine if you had already committed 97% of your revenue to debt servicing alone out of the 23 trillion naira budget. What do you have left? That was why President Tinubu had to bring in a supplementary budget, because he was already raising some new funds to meet the challenges on the ground. You had to block some holes and raise funds to implement the supplementary budget. So I would say yes, the president didn't anticipate the enormity of the challenges on the ground when he took over from Muhammadu Buhari. Well, another question thrown at him says, I think Nigeria was already broke under former President Buhari. So, like I said, what President Tinubu is doing right now is trying to see how we can manage our resources better to revive the country. He is doing all that is necessary to take us out of the woods. Did Nigeria expect a smoother transition given both parties were from the same political camp? He said yes, but it was not like that. If you look at what had happened even in the run-up to the primaries of the APC, it was as if there were some people in the party that didn't want Asiwaju to take over. That is what we are thinking. But the issue of you people using dollars to bribe delegates, you didn't see that all the people that he bought forms for, and they were now stepping down on the day of the primaries. So what happened? Where did they see the money they gave to them? Because you are insinuating that some people never wanted him to be there, and all of those Kakambu story. That is your own opinion, and Nigerians have their own opinion was to the reason why we are suffering right now. Well, don't forget that it was the same APC government that introduced currency change on the eve of the election, which made the naira scarce. You can imagine the resentment by members of the public against that policy. Around the same time fuel was scarce, and APC government knew fully well that an APC candidate was contesting that election, yet they were doing things to make people unhappy and make them resent this APC. People around President Buhari didn't even want the APC to win the election and succeed APC government. That was very clear from the games. So if they are not there, so they want opposition to be there, so what will not happen? Would they gain anything? Because this Tinubu and his men, they are propagandists, honestly speaking. So we are trying to manage the situation to make sure that Nigerians is taken out of the woods. Many of our countrymen didn't know that things were really bad, and that is the pitiable part of it. As I said, because it was also an APC government, we cannot really go out our way to lampoon that government. It shouldn't be so, but Nigeria should not bear it. You see them, hypocrisy, cherry picking. What of if it is you're this thing, you're the same party? Why can't you bring out these people? But they are looking for scapegoats, and which they have found, which happens to be Emefiele. You don't want to go after them, then you can go after other people who are not very close to Buhari. Well, the president obviously didn't even know the level of the rots in the system before he took over. Don't you think Nigerians deserve to know what he later found out rather than cover things up? I remember during the campaigns when the former CBN governor Godwin Emefiele was saying Nigeria had $34 billion in reserve. We had the information that it was far less than that. But like I said, we didn't even have the full picture of what was going on. Don't you think that even in a very modesty way, you need to explain to Nigerians where we are coming from, where we are, and where we are headed? Well, I think this I've been explained. I just stated that under Buhari, Nigeria was spending 97% of its budget to service debt. I simply mean we were broke. It simply means that we're broke. There was no money. The same government borrowed over 22 trillion naira through that what they call ways and means, which means that there were lots of problems. They were also using close to 1.5 million or 5 trillion naira to strengthen the naira every month. A lot of people were doing round trips with the dollar from the CBN. Who are the people? Is it not the same you people at the top? Know that President Buhari did well in some areas of infrastructure. He may not have solved all the problems, but there were some notable things he put on ground. But there are still huge gaps that this government is trying to cover. So guys, let's hear your opinion and have your take. They talk plenty things, but the bottom line is that Tinubu didn't know that this problem was so huge.